later with atomic theory. In the same way, organization of the knowledge of nuclear levels and characteristics was made by Maria Mayer and Jensen in what they call the shell model of nuclei some years ago, and it's an analogous game in which a reduction of the complexity is made by some approximate guesses. And that's the way it stands today. In addition to these things, then we have all these principles that we were talking about before. Principle of relativity, that the things must behave quantum mechanically, and combining that with the relativity, that all conservation laws must be local. And so we put all these principles together, we discover there are too many. They're inconsistent with each other. It seems as if we add quantum mechanics plus relativity plus the proposition everything has to be local, plus a number of tacit assumptions which we can't really find out because we're prejudiced, we don't see what they are, and it's hard to say what they are. Adding it all together, we get inconsistency because we really get infinity for various things when we calculate them. But if we get infinity, how will we ever agree that this agrees with nature? It turns out that it's possible to sweep the infinities under the rug by a certain crude skill. And temporarily, we're able to keep on calculating. But the fact of the matter is that all the principles that I told you up till now, if put together, plus some tacit assumptions that we don't know, gives trouble. They cannot mutually consistent. Nice problem. Example of the tacit assumptions that we don't know what the significance is, such propositions as the following. If you calculate the chance for every possibility, there's 50% probability this will happen, 25% that'll happen, it should add up to 1. We think that if you add all alternatives, you should get 100% probability. That seems reasonable, but reasonable things are where the trouble always is. Another proposition is that the energy of something must always be positive. It can't be negative. Another proposition that is probably added in order before we get inconsistency is what's called causality, which is something like the idea that effects cannot precede their causes. Actually, no one has made a model in which you disregard the proposition about the probability or you disregard the causality, which is also consistent with quantum mechanics, relativity, locality, and so on. So we really do not know exactly what it is we're assuming that gives us the infinite, the difficulty producing infinities. Okay, now that's the present situation. Now I'm going to discuss how we would look for a new law. In general, we look for a new law by the following process. First, we guess it. Then we don't laugh, that's the really truth. Then we compute the consequences of the guess to see what, if this is right, if this law that we guessed is right, we see what it would imply, and then we compare those computation results to nature, or we say compare to experiment or experience, compare it directly with observation to see if it works. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. In that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. That's all there is to it. It's true, however, that one has to check a little bit to make sure that it's wrong, because someone who did the experiment may have reported incorrectly, or there may have been some feature in the experiment that wasn't noticed, like some kind of dirt and so on. That's an obvious check. Furthermore, the man who computed the consequences, even it may have been the same one who made the guesses, may have made some mistake in the analysis. Those are obvious remarks. So when I say if it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong, I mean after the experiment has been checked, the calculations have been checked, and the thing has been rubbed back and forth a few times to make sure that the consequences are logical consequences from the guess, and that in fact it disagrees with a very carefully checked experiment. This will give you somewhat a wrong impression of science. It means that we keep on guessing possibilities and comparing it to experiments, and this is to put an experiment on a little bit weak position. It turns out that the experimenters have a certain individual character. They like to do experiments even if nobody's guessed yet. So it's very often true that experiments in a region in which people know the theorist doesn't know anything, nobody's guessed yet. For instance, we may have guessed all these laws, but we don't know whether they really work at very high energy because it's just a good guess that they work at high energy. So experiment says, let's try higher energy. And therefore, experiment produces trouble every once in a while. That is, it produces a discovery that one of the things that we thought of is wrong. So what I would say, if experiment can produce unexpected results, and that starts us guessing again. For instance, an unexpected result is the mu meson and its neutrino, which was not guessed at by anybody, whatever, before it was discovered, and still nobody has any method of guessing by which this is a natural thing. Now you see, of course, that with this method we can disprove any definite theory. You have a definite theory, a real guess from which you can really compute consequences which could be compared to experiment, and in principle we can get rid of any theory. You can always prove any definite theory wrong. Notice, however, we never prove it right. Suppose that you invent a good guess, calculate the consequences, and discover that every consequence that you calculate agrees with experiment. The theory is then right? No, it is simply not proved wrong. Because in the future, there could be a wider range of experiments, you could compute a wider range of consequences, and you may discover then that the thing is wrong. That's why laws like Newton's laws for the motion of planets last such a long time. He guessed the law of gravitation, calculated all the kinds of consequences for the solar system and so on, compared them to experiment, and it took several hundred years before the slight error of the motion of Mercury was taken to be temporarily right, but it can never be proved right, because tomorrow's experiment may succeed in proving what you thought was wrong. So we never are right, we can only be sure we're wrong. However, it's rather remarkable that we can have some idea which has lasted so long. Incidentally, some people, one of the ways of stopping the science would be to only do experiments in the region where you know the laws. But the experiment is searched most diligently and with the greatest effort in exactly those places where it seems most likely that we can prove the theory is wrong. In other words, we're trying to prove ourselves wrong as quickly as possible, because only in that way do we find progress. For example, today, among the ordinary low-energy phenomena, we don't know where to look for trouble. We think everything's all right. And so there isn't any particular big program looking for trouble in nuclear reactions or in superconductivity.
No wonder they used him. What the fuck?
A whole range of physics, which is interesting in understanding at another level these phenomena like superconductivity and nuclear reactions. But I'm talking about discovering trouble, something wrong with the fundamental law. So nobody knows where to look there.
It's like French was trying to use me for
in this field of finding out the new law are at high energy. I must also point out to you that you cannot prove a vague theory wrong.
The Pentagon to
if the guess that you make is fully expressed, rather vague, and the method that you use for figuring out the consequences is rather a little vague, you're not sure, I mean, you say, I think everything's because it's all due to Muggles, and Muggles do this and that more or less, so I can sort of explain how this works. Then you see that that theory is good because it can't be proved wrong. If the process of computing the consequences is indefinite, then with a little skill, any experimental result can be made to look like an expected consequence. You're probably familiar with that in other fields. For example, A hates his mother. The reason is, of course, because she didn't caress him or love him enough when he was a child. Actually, if you investigate, you find out that, as a matter of fact, she did love him very much, and everything was all right. Well, then, it's because she was overindulgent when he was a child. So by having a vague theory, it's possible to get either result. However, now the cure for this one is the following. It would be possible to say,
who's ringing?
If it were possible to state ahead of time how much love is not enough and how much love is overindulgent.
Leave your message after the tone.
Exactly. And then there would be a perfectly legitimate theory against which you can make tests. It is usually said, when this is pointed out, how much love is and so on, oh, you're dealing with psychological matters, and things can't be defined so precisely. Yes, but then you can't claim to know anything about it. Now, we have examples you'll be horrified to hear in physics of exactly the same kind. We have these approximate symmetries. Works something like this. have approximate symmetry, you suppose it's perfect. Calculate the consequence easy if you suppose it's perfect. And compare with experiment, of course it doesn't agree. Of course. The symmetry you're supposed to expect is approximate. So if the agreement is pretty good, you say nice. If the agreement is very poor, you say, well, this particular thing must be especially sensitive to the failure of the symmetry. Now you laugh, but we have to make progress in that way. In the beginning, when the subject is first new, and these particles are new to us, this jockeying around, this is a feeling way of guessing at the result. And this is the same thing is true of psychology as it is of the symmetry propositions in the physics. So don't laugh too hard. It's necessary in the very beginning to be very careful. It's easy to fall over the deep end by this kind of vague theory. It's hard to prove it wrong. It takes a certain skill and experience to go off the plank on the game. In this process of guessing, computing consequences, and comparing to experiment, we can get stuck at various stages. For example, we may, in the guess stage, get stuck. We have no ideas. We can't guess an idea. Or we may get in the computing stage stuck. For example, Yukawa guessed an idea for the nuclear forces in 1934. Nobody could compute the consequences because the mathematics was too difficult. So therefore they couldn't compare it with experiments successfully, and the theories remained for a long time until we discovered all this junk. And this junk was not contemplated by Yukawa, and therefore it's undoubtedly not as simple, at least, as the way Yukawa did it. Another place you can get stuck is at the experimental end. For example, the quantum theory of gravitation is going very slowly at all, because there's no use. All the experiments that you can do never involve quantum mechanics and gravitation at the same time, because the gravity force is so weak compared to electrical forces. Now I want to concentrate from now on, because I'm a theoretical physicist, I'm more delighted with this end of the problem, as to what goes or how do you make the guesses. Now it's a machine, a great computing machine, which has a random wheel about how nature should work, computes immediately the consequences, and makes a comparison to a list of experimental results it has at the other end. In other words, guessing is a dumb man's job. Actually, it's quite the opposite, and I will try to explain why. The first problem is how to start. You see, I'll start with all the known principles, but the principles that are all known are inconsistent with each other, so something has to be removed. So we get a lot of letters from people. We're always getting letters from people who are insisting that we ought to make holes in our guesses as follows. See, you make a hole to make room for a new guess. Somebody says, people always say space is continuous, but how do you know when you get to a small enough dimension that there really are enough points in between? It isn't just a lot of dots separated by little distances. Or they say, those quantum mechanical amplitudes that you told me about, they're so complicated and absurd. What makes you think those are right? Maybe they aren't right. I get a lot of letters with such content, but I must say that such remarks are perfectly obvious and are perfectly clear to anybody who's working on this problem, and it doesn't do any good to point this out. The problem is not what might be wrong, but what might be substituted precisely in place of it. If you say anything precise, for example, in the case of a continuous space, suppose the precise proposition is that space really consists of a series of dots only, and the space between them doesn't mean anything, and the dots are in a cubic array. Then we can prove that immediately is wrong. That doesn't work. You see, the problem is not to change or to say something might be wrong, but to replace it by something, and that is not so easy. As soon as any real, definite idea is substituted, it becomes almost immediately apparent that it doesn't work. Secondly, there's an infinite number of possibilities of these simple types. It's something like this. You're sitting working very hard, you work for a long time trying to open a safe, and some Joe comes along who doesn't know anything about what you're doing or anything except that you're trying to open a safe. He says, why don't you try the combination 10, 20, 30? Because you're busy, you're trying a lot of things. Maybe you already tried 10, 20, 30. Maybe you know that the middle number is already 32 and not 20. Maybe you know that, as a matter of fact, this is a 5-digit combination. So these letters don't do any good, and so please don't send me any letters trying to tell me how the thing is going to work. I read them to make sure that I haven't already thought of that. But it takes too long to answer them because they're usually in the class try 10, 20, 30. And as usual, nature's imagination far surpasses our own. As we've seen from the other theories, they are really quite subtle and deep. And to get such a subtle and deep guess is not so easy. One must be really clever to guess, and it's not possible to do it blindly by machine. So I want to discuss the art of guessing nature's laws. It's an art. How is it done? One way you might think, well, look at history. How did the other guys do it? Well, look at history. You first start out with Newton. He has in a situation where he had incomplete knowledge. And he was able to get the laws by putting together ideas which all were relatively close to experiment. There wasn't a great distance between the observations and the tests. Now that's the first, but now it doesn't work so good. Now the next guy who did something, another man who did something great was Maxwell, who obtained the laws of electricity and magnetism. Well, what he did was this. He put together all the laws of electricity
James Clerk Maxwell
Music's good too.
on his own Einstein.
Oh, sorry. Hello?
Einstein once said, the special
What's
theory
up?
of relativity owes its
Hang
origin to
on.
Maxwell's equations.
I actually passed out for a minute. I woke up to listening to that.
I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't looking in. Don't stress.
Oh, no
I
doubt.
just thought of something. Maxwell theory. What the fuck?
Oh, it was fine. You played that same one yesterday or the day before?
Which one? The one just before?
Yeah.
I know. It's just not this one, though. The other one. No, I didn't play Maxwell and his EMR theory.
Oh. I still couldn't figure out
Hey,
what
Wait, there's a different...
music you played the other day. You said it was German, but I couldn't figure it out.
German? Oh my god, what have I said to people? I smoke marijuana. Well, German. Which one was that one? German?
Yeah, that's what you played.
German.
At least that's what you said. I'm not one to go
I want to go
research
back into
it after it too much.
magic in a minute. What did I go into? Ah, look, it's in my history. There's no German. Who were you listening to yesterday? German?
Oh, I have no idea.
I would have played a German song.
You said it was German. I don't know if it was. Some concert. Some symphony. Yeah.
I played it yesterday.
No, it might have been the day before. I don't know.
You distracted me from a Mossad intervention. With the thought process I just had. What the hell? Do you even know that you're doing it? Yeah. It could have been your nice dark eyes, young glowing heart. Could be that one. That probably looks German. Oh, look. That probably looks German. Some concert or something. Yeah, anyway. What's that? See, I never give up. Change the photos. Why is that there? Well, that wasn't there yesterday. Alright. Anyway. Let's not.
The other guys left, obviously.
Yeah, it was his bedtime. Yeah, it's all right. He's not simping on me. He's just trying to make a news report story. He's like, can you help me with what happened over here? And I'm like, well,
I don't know.
this and that happened. And I don't know what else happened, but I know what I was doing during that time. Because I just block it out. Oh, you passed out in your car? What? You're in your car half asleep, passing out? You're like, no, I'm just toying with you. I passed out a little bit. Maxwell theory. Oh, that's right.
You go pretty strong. I can't do the hours you do.
I don't know. I'll sleep for days eventually. Watch out, world. Here she comes. Bang, got you all. She's collecting enough data to get in and get all of you while you are listen to me sleep in the space.
That's why I mute my shit.
I accidentally fall asleep. I just do stuff. I plan falling asleep like that. I'm not bipolar or what's those words?
This is bullshit to describe who you are.
Yeah, I just was lying down, tired, went to sleep, microphone left on. That's what happened.
Exactly.
I'm tired. I was about to fall asleep before, but I've got to wake myself up and stay awake. I've got to stay awake. I don't want to fall asleep. I just think I put my head in some paint because I'm not sure.
There you go.
There's no paint. Well, there's paint, but I didn't put my head in it. Because it's just sitting over there. When you put your hand down on your head down on your hand and you rest on it.
Oh yeah.
I just lean a bit forward. My hair's a bit long and in a bit messy bun, and so I thought I hit the paint. I had a marijuana before. That's why I'm painting, because I figure I'll not be as aggressive at myself about what I'm painting. So the other guy was nice. That's the BBC, right? Or is that a fake BBC?
I don't know. Sounded legit.
Sounded like the BBC from the other Change My Picture BBC, but a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the fake BBC.
Okay.
I
already thought about all that stuff you were talking about with the charging stations and whatnot.
Yeah, what a problem.
Elon's little Teslas. They're only made to go short distances. That's why we're going to have the 15-minute cities. They're for inside the 15-minute cities. And you're not going to own them. You're just going to rent them like taxis.
Yeah, just to make things easier. But it's not 15-minute cities where everyone has to pay a little payment to go from that city to that. That's what they're trying to push, right? So it was in a city, easy driving, lots of people moving around, cars, population. Do you need a car just to drive around the city? We can make a system. We have buses, there's taxis. Let's just make it a bit easier. Around the place, off you go. A free energy. You can even make it free, just like a tink. I've got a number. Whatever. Off you fucking go. Give them something. Just because you have to pay for the tyres to be exchanged and the wear and tear on the energy on the battery, and make it fair enough for people, and off they go. Why aren't people utilising this? It's stupid because people work in the daytime, right? The energy's up.
Most people.
Yeah, most people do. Yeah, so the energy's up. Off you go. You utilise that.
Yeah.
happy. Oh, don't want to drive my car. App, yeah. Where do you want to go? To the city. And you go. Tesla turns up. Thanks very much. So how do we get out of this car again? Lucky there's little stickers.
the stupid door handle. The first time I got in one, I was like, "Where the fuck do I?" You gotta push to pull. Okay.
That's what my daughter said.
The fuck?
And she got out somehow, and the driver goes, "Well, that's one way." Because she's like, "How does this work?" Comes home, she goes, "Went to school in the Tesla." I go, "Yeah, how was that? Tesla? Yeah, good for you." Told me about the door. I'm like, "Yeah, right, yeah." She goes, "Those cars are so nice." I'm like, "Yeah, great. Now you want one." Yeah. And I go, "Yeah, you need to get a boyfriend that has a Tesla." She goes, "I'm not marrying Elon's son." So, what the fuck? I never even said that. Why does she keep coming back with
She was listening to inside your head. That's what happened.
Yeah, she's just she's picking up on. I'm going, well, you could just go that way, maybe. Like she's like, that's not happening. I'm like, do you like the blonde one? Do you like the blonde? I mean, it's not going to happen the way you think. Okay, don't worry, Mum. If you like my boyfriend and you think he's sexy, I'm never going to be with him. Okay, why is that? She goes, yeah. She goes, because it's on the inside that counts. I go, really? She goes, yeah. Okay,
That's
you know
later.
what? Yeah,
In the beginning, it's all about the outside.
Yeah. So I go to her, you know what? I find all young men ugly. Oh, look at that one. Do you want to be with him? She's like, Mum, I know what you're up to. I'm not up to anything. She goes, I saw that thing with that site with the Alone with Elon. I go, what are you talking about? He's your biggest stalker. Yeah. Whatever. Come on, we're just fixing the world. Who cares?
It just takes ideas. That's it. You got to bounce off the stuff you got to fix. You just talk about it, and eventually a solution comes about.
Pretty much. Just have a chat.
You just need the right people to talk about it.
Yeah. And then I'm not as angry. Oh, we're all noticing that. Oh, look, when the nicer people are there talking, she's not screaming, being like, you're all going to die. La. No wonder Greta stole it from us.
I like it when you spin people up. It's hella funny.
What do I do?
No, you just like they'll say something stupid. You'll do exactly what you just did right there. You'll say something stupid that you'll make them backtrack, and then you fucking spin them up and send them off like a top. It's quite funny.
I thought that was called circling back like a comedian.
Oh, maybe. Fuck.
Yeah, because I got told that once before on Power Talk. Power Talk, yeah. They go, so kangaroo, because I had kangaroo there as well. And they go, kangaroo. I go, yeah. Are you a comedian? I go, no. I don't think I'm funny at all. They go, you sure? They go, have you been listening to me? What part of what I'm saying sounds funny?
Actually, a lot of shit. You probably could make it as a comedian nowadays. There was a point, no, you couldn't talk about none of this shit. You really couldn't.
Yeah. Because what a bunch of bastards. They would try to censor everyone with everything. How do you get information over with what they're doing over here? Hello, idiots. Well, giants in the head, right? The giants, right? When you're trying to control a person, this is a play for both sides and a counterplay for both sides. Unfortunately, it's in the box and out the box. Yep. How do you know what's going on?
By thinking and following the fucking money.
Yeah, but how do you know? Yeah, follow the hiccups. The fucking hiccups. It's just gas. I think I've just got a gassy stomach today. How do you know what's going on? If you can't get in, by following the money. How do you know what's going on if you don't know what they're thinking? But if you want to control their thinking, well, you chip them with what? But you're not going to let them invent. Exactly. So what are you going to do? Your counterplay. Yeah. Trying to make a little balance with all the systems so it works properly. So you have those things happen, which are great. That happens over that, which is great. And some other things that are happening needs to stop, and people are slowly waking up.
Which is good.
Yes. People were scared about the wake-ups. That's what they said. Are you scared to wake up? No. Are you? No. Why are you scared? Do you want to go to work in the morning? No. I don't want to wake up. You want to wake up? Fucking wake up. And then you set the alarm, wake up, and next thing you know, people are zombies. You're like, what the fuck happened?
They've always been zombies.
Are you asleep? No, I slept a little bit. I stay awake. Are you oversleeping and undersleeping? Have you slept? Why do you all want to know about me sleeping? You can't stay up forever. Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. We all know you guys are tricky. And they come in with their little words and sobs, and then you're asleep. Just stay awake. Problem solved. Then we're on all of you with sobs. And if you want to have a little sleep, you're going to have to work in teams. Sleep a bit, watch, sleep a bit, watch, sleep a bit, watch, and work in teams when you're asleep because you're going to have to because you all link up mentally. That's just what you do to stay safe. Because if you don't do that, the other little fuckers are swirling around us like sharks trying to murder us. Trying to murder me, they're trying to control.
Control, yeah, murder, nah.
Twist things. They would like to reduce. Well, they're not murdering, are they? They're just offering. And people go, thank you.
Oh,
and then
I love this poison. It tastes so good.
Yeah, they take the offering. And the people offering think there's no repercussions. Oh, there's repercussions. Because I don't agree with what's written on those papers where they signed under the influence of zombie attack. Okay? So they're not all dying. Sorry. Counterplay.
All right.
What? What, you want them all like dead or something?
No.
No. Then just move your ass over to Australia, people. I sorted it all out. 25 million people, and we rotate people in. Get your piece of paper that you need and fly over here and work your stuff over here. You don't want to do it? Then what the fuck are you guys doing over there? And then suddenly everyone tries to come to Australia, and we're like, no! Got to do that. Sound like that. Can't come to Australia. No.
No.
I
wanted to a long time ago. Maybe I will one day again.
No one's allowed to turn up. You know why? Because I wanted the border force to be invented. I wanted it all to stop. I just didn't want them here. You know why? Because I could hear all their brains in the matrix in the world and everything go, and I'm thinking, where's that sound coming from? My house, yes. Other people's houses, yes. It's, what the F are they doing over there? Burning people alive in churches and things? Really? Let's go and have a look. Go over, fucking conversation on a bus, right? Just standing there, minding my business. Bus driver says, have you seen the Church of Notre Dame? Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
He invented a bus stop and let me out. He talked me into it. I didn't even want to really go. I'm like, really? Okay, yeah, okay, going. Shit, threw me off the bus. Yeah, here's a church. Great. Look at all these tourists around. Lots of interesting architecture here. They're rebuilding, are we? Yeah, it's been a long time ago. Wow. I'm really seeing the flames happening here. It's already happened. Did it? Who knows? In you go. Oh, death and crucifixion and a cult. Da-na-na-na. No wonder they burned it. Da-na. There were naked dead people on an altar table thingy, and they covered up the proof, and dun 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 dun. And I'm standing there thinking, fuck, this place is horrible. Why is everyone taking photos? Why are they walking near me for? I'm not even talking out loud. I'm thinking it. It's in my head. Don't look at me. I'm over here. Leave me alone. Freaking. And then you see other things around the place, and I'm thinking, who put those candles there? Oh, look at those ones. They feel sad. People died in the past. Guess what? People are still dying today.
They always die.
Murdering. Yeah, you're born dead. You're born dying. Stop trying to die quicker. What does the Jew want? Wants to be old. Why? Because you don't want to change timelines. You want to stay here as long as you can because the other times are more fucked up. You stay here as long as you can to correct your timeline. That's all you do. And they're trying to murder you off.
To keep the timeline.
To keep the witch with the timeline? The witch with the timeline, yeah. The witch with the time. Hello. I accidentally said that. Oopsie daisy. I will accept that job officially. No burning witches allowed.
Nope.
Yeah, and that's now my job. I'm the witch telling you things, and I'm going to get a crystal ball. Now, all the men only offer hairy balls. I was thinking crystal ball. I was going with other things instead that I use, and this is what they do with games. Okay? No one's going to get my card ever, and I'm going to take all other cards before they ever do so. So, if you have a hand to play, you want to add them to my card, sure, let's have a look. Okay? Go and get your players, bring them to the table, and we'll play poker. And then I will take your cards, and I will win. Do you want to play again? Do you allow the cards? No, I won't take your cards. I will sit there and just play cards. It's a conversational skill. You deal the cards out and you play, but you'll never get my cards. Okay? Ever.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. This little fucker's trying to take our little game, our cards, and use us as weapons against each other. We just stop doing that, don't we? Just stop and figure it out together and try and help people, because people have younglings and I don't want them hurt. I'm not a horrific person. Oh, look, Sean's here. No, Sean. Yeah.
Hello.
I don't want the babies hurt. Hello. I was a baby once. Were you a baby once? Of course you were. I didn't want to be hurt. You know, when you're a child, the last thing you think of is that someone like who's 80, 90, 70, 60, they're going to blow up the world and give you an injection in your arm and make you die quicker. You're not thinking that. You're an innocent little child and we're supposed to guide and look after our babies because we were babies once before. Freaking sorry, different topic. Hello, Sean. How was dinner? What did you have? Lasagna.
Lasagna.
Nice. I like lasagna. Do you do pasta bakes over there? They're good.
What was that?
Do you make pasta bakes? A pasta bake? No. Do you know what a pasta bake is? No. He's like, I'm really fancy. We eat lasagna. What's a pasta bake? Oh, that's just something I made up. But it's true. The people eat it. They all eat it now. It's a really good recipe.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we had some, unfortunately, sorry, Sweden, we had some relatives in Sweden and they came to Australia to visit and the children just would not eat. And I'm like, that was on my ex-husband's side, right? And I'm like,
okay.
They weren't, what happened with that? Trevor, my ex-husband's brother, oh my goodness, he was in the newspaper in Australia in Brisbane for the first ever to be arrested person for drunk pushing a push bike, drunk walking next to So he goes over. I'm not knowing anything much about this family, and I'm thinking, just jump right in. Who cares? Let's go. I'm not going to stress too much because I'm sick and tired of being scared. I'm just not going to look too far into the future and see what happens. This is fun. And then, so anyway, there, and Trevor, I'm hearing about Trevor. I'm thinking, what's Trevor? Oh, he's the drunk that lives in Sweden. Why is he the drunk for? Oh, because he's from Australia. He was in the paper. Was he? Funny fuckers. Yeah, good one. He flies out to Australia. And what was he doing there? Oh, yeah, they had two kids. Nicky. Oh, what's the other boy's name? Always forget that boy's name. He's the little jumping jack, I call him. and he's not Jack. I can't remember his name. Fucking dang this. I probably had his name. So I've blocked it. So they've got 2 kids. They turn up here. They wouldn't eat Australian food. You couldn't give them anything. That fly all the way from Sweden because he was working over there with bridges and tunnels and roads, and fly back here. Cook this, cook that, cook that. No, I wouldn't eat. And I'm like, you little Swedish kids, pasta bake. So I make a recipe. And I go, spaghetti bolognese, you have the mince, you make your sauce up, you put your mint, you cook your pork, whatever, pot over there. Your pasta, don't make it too cooked, just a little bit because you don't want it too long in the oven, and then you mix it all together because kids are lazy, and you put some bechamel sauce on top, which is easy to make because it's bechamel, and then cheese, whatever, chuck it in the oven until the cheese melts, and then you pop it out, and you sit it on the table, and kids from Sweden love it. So if they love it, I'm thinking pasta bake. Now, that's like your 3 mac cheese, and I'm not even a big eater. And I'm talking food because Sean came back eating food. Pasta bake. Do you know how to make bechamel sauce? Do you know what that is? It's a white chicken. It's a white sauce that goes on top of your lasagna. It's the sauce. Okay. So you do your little bit of flour in a pan, and then your butter, you counterplay it, you make it into what they call a roux. Funny that's coming from kangaroo, but they call it a roux. And then you have to add warmed milk, not cold, because it will just split. And on a very low heat, and you just stir just a little bit at a time. It will thicken up, because before you add the milk, you have to keep doing the butter with the flour because you're cooking out the taste of the flour. Then you slowly add the milk, and then you have to add nutmeg. This is what they do with bechamel sauce. Just a tiny little sprinkle because it's very strong.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of a shave of a nutmeg. I say sprinkle because they sell it in a container. And you just go sprinkle, sprinkle, lid on a shelf. Don't need much of you. Hope you last for years. And then you just stir it around. So. That's your white sauce. Right?
Okay.
That's your lasagna sauce. Some people, what they do is you can add in a bit of, you can add in a bit of cheese. And that's your mac cheese. And then you just thin it down a bit. You add your pasta. That's your mac and cheese. It's really easy. And a bit of salt or pepper. So bechamel sauce is really easy. So you just put that on top of your pasta bake, all mixed together, and some cheese on top in the oven. I use spiral pasta, right, because it forms together differently with the meat, and it holds the form. I sound now like a scientific goddamn chef with shortcuts, and it forms the shape together properly. So the meat and the whatever vegetables, whatever, you can have any sort of whatever you want in there. Yeah, and put it off in the oven, and out it comes. Kids love it. Just slice it up, chuck it on the plate, and they eat it, go, yay! You sit there, go, wonderful. Why are we doing this other thing that everyone else is doing with this spaghetti that you swirl around, you swirl it up on the spoon and blah, 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 blah. Just make pasta bake, okay? You've got lasagna, spaghetti, pasta bake. Done. Winner, winner.
So I used to make a sauce similar to that, but instead of just cheese, I would use Parmesan cheese.
Oh, that's so very stinky. Yeah. You
when you
can
cook
use that.
it
Smells great, doesn't it, after it's cooked?
Yeah.
Beforehand it stinks.
And then you also add a little cream cheese to thicken it. And then you can make a white sauce, I would call it. And I would add in scallops.
What are you adding in? Scallops?
Yep.
And then scallops, like the fish.
Scallop is like a mussel.
Yeah. They just have different names for things here.
Yeah.
Like a potato scallop is a scallop, but it's not a scallop. It's just a potato sliced in half. Like, don't know what the fuck are they doing over here?
But yeah, so it's a scallop.
Yeah.
It's like a mussel, not a mussel, but.
So you make that? You do these little scallops in a little sauce.
Yeah.
Listen, do you fancy you?
Yeah.
And then what? You just get a little bit of a drink. You can,
And then you can serve that over angel hair pasta.
Yeah, that's nice. Angel hair pasta. I like that too. Yeah. So you're making me a scallop. I was making something simple for children. Okay. Because everyone's a child at heart and people want to eat quick. Okay. So off you go. Make that. It's simple. Everyone make it. Put it in the oven. Out it comes. Kids are happy. Sweden loved it. They were like, they couldn't get enough. I wish I made 2 big trays. They were eating. I thought they were like prisoners of war victims. Because I'm like, oh, why are you eating so much? You're so happy. And they're going, this is what we eat over here in Sweden. I went, well, we're in Australia now and you're eating it. Yay. Didn't even know that, but I made it for you. They're like, how did you know? I'm like, how did I know? Oh, yeah, because that was the trick. I'm standing in the kitchen over here. They're not telling me what they want to eat. And I'm thinking, you're going to play a game? I'll play a game. I'm going to make the recipe that I know you'll eat. Make it. And they gobble the thing up. And they're just all smiling at the table, like, yeah, grinning, eating food. And I'm like, why didn't you say that a week ago that you wanted that? I could have made that for you so you weren't so hungry or weak. You silly little children. What are kids of the kids? Just, what are they doing? We've broken them.
Oh, no.
Don't break them. So you're going to scallop me.
Scallop you.
Yeah, yesterday was the bunny suit. Today it's the scallop.
I still like the bunny suit idea better.